This week, the United States just accidentally invaded Mexico. The Miss Universe winner was completely overshadowed by insane controversy. Adolf Hitler is expected to win an election in 2025. Vance was arrested and sentenced to 2 years in prison. South Africa just declared a national disaster, and ISHOW speed just made history. We're going to be talking about all of that and so much more. Subscribe to the channel because you only got 73,000 followers left to go. Come on, let's do it. So, let's stop the yapping. Let's get... And now... Okay, we gotta start today with bizarre headline number 1, because we got a few today, as you heard from the intro. Did the United States just accidentally invade Mexico? Well, videos circulating online today show a group of Navy soldiers from Mexico having to remove a sign declaring that a Mexican beach was Department of Defense property. Now, the sign also read that this was now a restricted area by authority of the commander, I think you know who that is, and that anyone entering that area may be detained or searched. But here's the thing. Turns out, though, it wasn't just one sign. It was 6 signs, and they were placed there by accident. Now, only after it was investigated by the heavily armed Mexican Navy, the Pentagon admitted that they hired contractors, well, the Department of Defense did, and they were instructed to place these signs actually on the Texas side of the border. But, quote, changes in the water depth and typography altered the perception of the international boundary's location. This is my personal favorite part from the statement. Government of Mexico personnel removed 6 signs based on their perception of the international boundary's location. We're not agreeing to anything. It's their perception if you look at the fine print. And to make it even more spicy, America's accidental invasion happened on the same day that Donald Trump said that he would be okay with the bombing of drug cartels in the country.
Would I launch strikes in Mexico to stop drugs? It's okay with me. Whatever we have to do to stop drugs.
The Mexican government has now begun an investigation into the matter, so let's see where that goes. Moving on. Talking about Mexico, though, they now hold the crown for the most beautiful being in the universe. Is that the title you get for winning Miss Universe? Presumptuously. Now, I want you to hear me out for a second, because I personally didn't think that, a story about Miss Universe, a beauty pageant, would be very interesting, but let me tell you, Miss Universe 2025 was like the most drama-filled reality show that's ever existed. It will go down in history as their most controversial year, by far. Let me show you. So the winner was just announced to be Mexico's Fatima Bosch, who is the same girl that was called a dumbhead by the pageant's director, which, as you probably have seen, triggered a mass walkout by all of the contestants and sparked global, massive backlash. But that was just a fraction of the problems that they ran into this year, because after that, a former winner, Alicia Machado, was criticized for making a racist comment towards the director, calling him that despicable Chinese. Now, when someone in the chat said he's not Chinese, he's actually Thai, Alicia said, and I quote, "Chinese, Thai, Korean, to me, all these people with slanted eyes like this are Chinese," while pulling the corner of her eyes. Bruh. It's getting insane. Miss Israel got a wave of death threats, and even threats that I can't even mention in this video, after a clip of her went viral, seemingly giving Miss Palestine crazy side-eye. She then had to come out and deny these claims, saying that the footage was cropped and taken from a distorted angle. She was actually standing behind her, not next to her. And she said that she did not look at Miss Palestine with any hostility. Miss Jamaica had to be put on a stretcher and rushed to hospital after falling off the stage during one of the walks. And then just a couple of days after the winner was set to be announced, 2 of the judges of the competition abruptly stepped down, with one of them accusing the pageant of being rigged. In fact, the president of the Miss Universe organization, he was even asked by reporters about these rigging allegations while he was standing next to the winner from Mexico. Imagine how awkward that would be as the winner, when everyone's just talking about it being rigged. Specifically about how you look. That's wild. Now, in the end, Thailand was runner-up, with Venezuela, Philippines, and the Ivory Coast also making the top 5. But the question is, what do you guys think? Do you think that Mexico deserved to win or not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Moving on. I told you it was pretty good. Okay, the next bizarre headlines that we need to address Ready? Adolf Hitler is about to win an election in 2025, and JD Vance was just sentenced to 2 years in prison. Both of them are technically true. Let's start with the mustache man. So Adolf Hitler Onana, that's his full name, is a Namibian politician who is running for councillor at his local constituency. How awkward. And despite what you may think, his name has not harmed his political career at all, because he's been continuously elected for the past 20 years, and yet again this year, he is expected to win the election, which is later this month. Now, I can already feel all the comments. Why? Why would his parents name him Adolf Hitler Onana? Onana, what's my name? Yo! I'm sorry. What are the chances of his surname being a part of the most famous song about what's my name? Oh my God. Sometimes in the moment, that you just get moments of clarity. Illuminati confirmed. Now, Adolf explained that his father most likely didn't understand its actual connotations or what it stood for, and that in Namibia, it's pretty common for parents to name their children after well-known figures, and Namibia was a former German colony, so a lot of people have German names in the country. But he said that growing up, no one even really cared about his name and that he has no plans to change it either. Pretty wild story, huh? But let's get to JD Vance. And also, get ready for some JD Vance inception, because a 67-year-old man named JD Vance from Michigan was found guilty after making death threats against Vice President JD Vance. Yeah. So basically, earlier this year, James Donald Vance Jr. posted on Blue Sky, "If Trump, Vance, or Musk ever come to my city again, they will leave in a body bag." Now, prosecutors claim that he also said a bunch of other things that were in the same sort of realm, and despite him posting this stuff under an alias, the Secret Service were able to track JD Vance down and arrest him surprisingly quickly. Meaning, for all of you that post that wild stuff online, you need to watch out. Because the Secret Service and the, the spy agency or anyone in your country, they can track you down. Now, the Secret Service said that threats against our nation's leaders and their families will not be tolerated. JD Vance eventually pled guilty to 2 felony charges, which actually carry a maximum prison sentence of 5 years each, but he was ultimately given 2 years due to mental health issues. Wild. Moving on. Also this week, North Korea's intimidation tactics backfired massively. So this week, they played Japan in the U17 World Cup, but before the game even started, instead of shaking the Japanese players' hands like most normal people do, they did whatever the hell this is. And when I saw this, I thought against Japan is especially wild, because this is a culture that values respect so much that they are known globally for every World Cup cleaning and leaving their changing rooms spotless. In fact, in the 2022 Qatar World Cup, they even left origami swans and a note that was not just a thank you in Japanese, but also Arabic. The country that was... I love you. So, you'll be glad to hear that North Korea's intimidation tactics had big karma, because Japan ended up winning on penalties to qualify for the quarterfinals, and North Korea were sent home. Probably to their big dismay. You don't want to go home. Imagine what Kimi has to say about this. I don't even want to know. Thoughts are with them. Moving on. Also this week, you guys need to be warned about a wild new Google scam going around fooling thousands. So Google just issued a new report showing how scammers are now using AI to increase the sophistication of their scam emails. But here's the thing, it's not just the perfect grammar. One of the weakest points in a scam email is the sender. Because if they're trying to pretend to be Netflix, but their sender address is bootyclapper@cheeks.com, you know it's not real.
What?
But this is the horrifying part. They're now using AI to be able to generate the sender address that has a matching URL to the company or the person that they are pretending to be. So even if the sender address, guys, looks real, just do not click links or download any PDFs. You literally can download malware and boom, they've got access to your phone, your computer, you're donezo. Now, this has been so effective that the study cited one of the scam groups increased their effectiveness rate from 0.69, which is basically nothing, to 20.9%. And then the other scam group went from 4.91% to 36.28%. Those numbers are terrifying. And to make matters worse, 90% of the detected phishing attacks targeted either Gmail or Outlook. Man, come on, guys. You don't need to be living like this anymore. Terrified to even open an email? You just got to switch to Proton Mail. It is one of the most trusted and secured email providers in the world. It was created by literal scientists at CERN, and even TechRadar ranked them as the best overall secure email provider of 2025. So you're good. This is because, unlike your current provider, they block scam emails before they even reach your inbox. They don't sell your data, so all trackers are blocked by default, and they also don't have any annoying ads targeting you either. And with Proton Easy Switch, you can literally sync your emails, your calendars, your contacts with one click. But somehow, it gets even better, because you can literally sign up for free. The gift of giving. All you gotta do is click the link that I've pinned in the comments and the description and rest easy. No more scams for you. Thank me later. Moving on. Also this week, South Africa, they declared a national disaster. Today, thousands of people across the country took to the streets as part of an organized national shutdown against gender-based violence. And it's now getting global attention. You see, in South Africa, violence against women and children has been an emergency for years, not just now that the government has officially declared it so. I mean, just listen to the numbers. 5,500 women and 1,600 children were murdered in just 1 year in South Africa. And several studies, including those from the United Nations, indicate that their femicide rate, which is murder that exclusively targets women and girls because of their gender, is 5 to 6 times higher in South Africa than the global average. However, despite these insane numbers, most people around the world are completely unaware. Until earlier this month, a movement was started by everyday South Africans, which not only took the country by storm, but is now getting global coverage recognition. You see, the key issue is that South Africans have been trying to relentlessly get gender-based violence recognized in the country as a national disaster. But all the previous efforts have been continuously denied or ignored by the government. But now, because this movement became so large, even reaching the point where they had a petition with over 1.1 million signatures, the country's leaders have finally flipped. And today, gender-based violence in South Africa is now being officially classified as a nationwide disaster. Now, of course, it must be noted that a lot of people are arguing that Ramaphosa, their president, he just did this for show. You know, it's the G20 summit. He want the country to look good, and that it won't actually lead to real, actionable change. But others argue that this is still a massive win, that recognition and awareness is the first step to change. So I ask you guys, what do you think? Will the country see a difference in these horrifying numbers because of this, or not? Moving on. Okay, and then rounding out the video with some lighter news, ISHOW Speed has just made history after finally winning Streamer of the Year. Now, he was actually up against some pretty big names. Some other nominees, including Kai Cenat, Jason the Ween, Black Boy Max, and Extra Emily. Now, ultimately, he took home first place at the 2025 Esports Awards, which is kind of like the Ballon d'Or for streamers. And the reason that this is so significant is that despite how massive ISHOW Speed is, this is actually the first time he's won it, because last year he lost out to Mexican streamer Rivers. But this year, I mean, I guess is totally deserved. You know, he had a wild year. Not only has he streamed in 50 different countries over the last 2 years, but he also streamed non-stop for 35 days straight while sleeping on a tour bus that was driving around America. And he did all of this while also filming an entire show called Speed Goes Pro, where he's like matching up with athletes and all. Crazy. Oh, and he's ending the year with 46 million subscribers. Yeah, I know the GLAZE is wild, but that's pretty crazy. In fact, he's even trying to now stream in every single country on Earth. He said he wants to do what no streamer has ever done, which I mean is a nice idea, but considering streaming is literally doxing yourself in real time. Just, I mean, your security can protect you in some regular areas, but a lot of these countries that you want to film in are literal war zones. So I don't know if he's ever going to be able to do this, but we wish you luck. We hope, Speed, you continue to make history and moving the entire industry of creators forward. But with that, Either we round out this this whole week. Let's get rid of this week, huh? Only a couple of weeks of the year left. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We need to hit that 1 million by the end of the year, or Alex is fired. You know the drill on Christmas Day. Sorry, Alex. You got to. I will see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. But until then, woo!